talking about carbohydrates, carbohydrates are polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxyketones, or we can also say that the compounds which can be hydrolyzed into polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxyketones are called carbohydrates. Most of the organic matter on earth is made up of carbohydrates. Hydrates of carbon are those particular carbohydrates in which the ratio of hydrogen to oxygen atom is same as that in the water, that is 2:1. The major functions of carbohydrate include serving as energy stores, fuels and metabolic intermediates. Ribose and deoxyribose, they form a part in the structural fragments of RNA and DNA. These are the nucleic acids. Polysaccharides are structural elements in the walls of bacteria and plants. Cellulose is the polysaccharide which is the most abundant organic compound on earth. Carbohydrates can be divided into three types: monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides are the simplest carbohydrate and we cannot further hydrolyze them into polyhydroxyketone or aldehyde. They usually contain 3 to 9 carbon atoms in them. Oligosaccharides are basically polymers of monosaccharide units. In them, 2 to 10 monosaccharide units, they combine with each other to form an oligosaccharide, and these monosaccharide units are combined using the glycosidic linkages. Oligosaccharide can further be classified into di-oligosaccharides, trisaccharides and tetrasaccharides. They depend on the number of monosaccharide units which are present in these. Polysaccharides are basically polymers which have hundreds of monosaccharide units connected to each other, and they are not sweet, and hence we can also call them as non-sugars. The most abundant polysaccharide are the disaccharides. Disaccharides contain 2 monosaccharide units in them. Coming on to monosaccharides, monosaccharides are the simplest of the carbohydrates and they contain only a single polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketone unit. We cannot hydrolyze them into simple sugars or simpler forms. The general formula of monosaccharides are CnH2nOn, and monosaccharides are colorless and crystalline solids. They are freely soluble in water, but we cannot solubilize them in organic solvents or non-polar solvents. The most abundant monosaccharide is D-glucose. Monosaccharide can be classified either on the basis of number of carbon atoms present or on the basis of the presence of aldehyde or ketone functional group. So on the basis of number of carbon atoms present, monosaccharide can be classified as tetroses, pentoses, hexoses and heptoses. Tetroses contain 4 carbon atom, pentoses contain 5 carbon atom, hexoses have 6 carbon atoms and heptoses have 7 carbon atoms. On the basis of presence of aldehyde or ketone group, we classify monosaccharide as aldoses and ketoses. Aldoses have aldehyde group in them and ketoses have a ketone group in them. Example of aldose is the glucose, which is an aldohexose, as it has 6 carbon atoms and an aldehyde group, and example of ketose is fructose, which is a ketohexose, 6 carbon atom with a ketone group. The simplest of the monosaccharides are the trioses with 3 carbon atoms in them. In ketose, the triose is dihydroxyacetone, and in aldose it is glyceraldehyde. The structure of glyceraldehyde is this CHOCHOH, CH2OH. In this glyceraldehyde, the second carbon is the chiral carbon, which is asymmetric. The structure of dihydroxyacetone is this CH2OH, CO, and then further CH2OH, which is a ketose. Glyceraldehyde has a central carbon atom, which is a chiral carbon atom or asymmetrical carbon atom. We also call it as chiral center. Chiral carbon is the carbon which is surrounded by 4 different functional groups. All the functional groups which are attached to carbon are different. So it forms an asymmetric carbon and it exists in 2 different configurations. We call them as enantiomers. What are enantiomers? Enantiomers are basically the isomers which form non-superimposable mirror images of each other. And the enantiomers are identified by their absolute configuration, that is either D configuration or L configuration. So in case of glyceraldehyde, the D configuration of glyceraldehyde has a hydroxyl group on its right side on the second carbon or the chiral carbon, and the L configuration of glyceraldehyde has hydroxyl group on its left side of the chiral carbon. Coming on to diastereomers. Diastereomers are basically the molecules which have multiple chiral centers or multiple asymmetric carbon atoms. We call them as diastereomers, and they are the isomers which do not superimpose each other, whose mirror images do not superimpose each other, and we can also call them as enantiomers. In these cases, the absolute configuration of monosaccharide is determined by comparing the configuration of highest number chiral carbon to the configuration of single chiral carbon of glyceraldehyde. So as glyceraldehyde has only one chiral carbon, so we compare the configuration of that chiral carbon of glyceraldehyde to our monosaccharides, and among the monosaccharides the comparison is done with the highest numbered chiral carbon, and the highest numbered chiral carbon is that chiral carbon which is farthest away from the aldehyde group or the ketone group. So symbols D and L designate the absolute configuration of asymmetric carbon atom which is farthest from the keto or aldehyde group. All monosaccharide except dihydroxyacetone have more than one chiral carbon, and hence they exist in optically active isomeric forms. So the number of chiral carbon atoms present is directly proportional to the number of possible stereoisomers for a compound, and that is provided by the formula 2 raised to the power n, where n is the number of asymmetric carbon atoms or the number of chiral centers present in a particular compound. This particular equation is also known as the Van't Hoff rule, and it helps us in determining the total number of possible isomers that may be present for a given molecule. Now coming on to epimers. Epimers are those sugars which differ in configuration at only a single carbon atom, and they are closely related. The stereochemistry is different at single carbon atom. So for example, D-glucose and D-mannose, they differ from each other at only carbon atom 2 in configuration, and the D-glucose and D-galactose differ from each other at carbon 4. So if we see the structures, we can see that when comparing D-glucose and D-mannose, the second carbon atom of glucose has hydroxyl group on its right side, while the second carbon atom of mannose have the hydroxyl group on its left side, and rest of the structure for both is same. And similarly, in comparison of D-glucose and D-galactose structure, we see that the fourth carbon atom of glucose is on the right hand side, hydroxyl group is on the right hand side, while the hydroxyl group on the fourth carbon atom of D-galactose is on the left hand side. So they differ in only one single carbon atom. Ketones have one fewer asymmetric center than do aldoses with the same number of carbon atoms. D-fructose is the most abundant ketohexose. Most abundant ketohexose is D-fructose. So talking about cyclic forms basically the monosaccharides which have 5 to 6 membered chains, they form cyclic structures when we dissolve them in aqueous solution, because internal hemiacetal or hemiketal formation occurs. In case of aldehyde, the aldehyde reacts with alcohol to form hemiacetal, and a ketone reacts with alcohol to form hemiketal. In glucose, the first C1 aldehyde in the open chain forms the form of glucose, react with the C5 hydroxyl group, and they form intramolecular hemiacetal. This results in a cyclic hemiacetal which is a 6-membered ring, and we call it pyranose. So this is the structure of glucose. The aldehyde group present on the C1, it forms a bond with the hydroxyl group present on the C5 atom in this way, which is the intramolecular hemiacetal, and then they form a cyclic structure. We call it as pyranose. It is a 6-membered ring, and since it is formed from glucose, we can also call it glucopyranose. This is the 6-membered ring. In case of ketones, such as fructose, two possibilities of ring formation may arise. The first case may be a 6-carbon ring, or the second case might be a 5-membered cycling ring. Let's see the 6-membered cyclic ring in case 1. The second carbon atom, the keto group in second carbon atom of the open chain fructose, it forms a bond or forms a intramolecular bond with the 6th carbon, 6th hydroxyl group from the 6th carbon, and form a 6-membered ring. Again we call it as pyranose, which is a 6-membered ring. And in case 2, the second carbon, if the keto group of second carbon atom from the fructose chain reacts with the 5th hydroxyl, the hydroxyl group on the 5th carbon atom, it forms a furanose ring, which is a 5-membered cyclic ring. So the 6-membered is called pyranose and the 5-membered is called furanose. In case of ketosis, to form 6-membered ring, the second carbon, the keto group of second carbon reacts with the hydroxyl group of 6th carbon, and for 5-membered rings, the keto group of second carbon forms bond with the hydroxyl group of 5th carbon. So fructose can form both pyranose and furanose ring depending on which particular carbon atom reacts with the C2 keto group in the open chain conformation. In case of free solution, the fructose predominates in pyranose form. Pentoses such as ribose can form furanose or pyranose ring. The pyranose rings for 5-carbon sugars arise when the carbonyl group reacts with the terminal hydroxide group. So when the carbonyl group reacts with the terminal hydroxide group, then 5-carbon sugar pyranose ring occurs in case of pentoses. Now talking about anomers, like epimers were in chain structures, anomers exist in cyclic structures, and in cyclic structures they exist in 2 different configuration forms or 2 diastereomers. Basically similar to epimers, the anomers differ in the configuration of a single carbon atom but in the ring structure. If we talk about alpha, the examples are alpha glucose and beta glucose. If the hydroxyl group of the anomeric carbon atom is below the plane of the ring, we call it as alpha glucose, while if the hydroxyl group is above the plane of the ring, we call it as beta glucose. So these two structures are called anomers. The anomeric carbon is the hemiacetal or hemiketal carbon, the carbon just adjacent to this hemiketal group. So there's a phenomena known as mutarotation. Mutarotation, basically in an aqueous solution, the interconversion of alpha and beta forms might occur via the open chain structures to give an equilibrium mixture, and this process of interconversion is known as mutarotation. Talking about the conformation of pyranose and furanose ring, pyranose ring is not planar because of its tetrahedral geometry. Pyranose ring can adopt 2 conformation, either chain or boat. Talking about the chain conformation of pyranose ring, it can occur in 2 orientation, either the axial or equatorial. In axial orientation, the axial bonds are nearly perpendicular to the average plane of the ring, and Axial substituents sterically hinder each other if they emerge on the same side of the ring. In equatorial configuration or orientation, the bonds are nearly parallel to the plane and they are less crowded. Beta D glucopyranose, it predominates because all axial positions are occupied by hydrogen atom. Boat conformation is a disfavored conformation because it is quite sterically hindered. Talking about Furanose ring, it is non-planar and it can be puckered so that four atoms are nearly coplanar. The envelope conformation occurs because the structure resembles an open envelope with the back flap raised. In ribose moiety, either second carbon atom or third carbon atom is out of plane on the same side as carbon atom 5. These conformations are called C2 endo and C3 endo respectively. In case of C2 with the same side as C5, we call it as C2 endo, and in case of C3, we call it as C3 endo. Talking about hydrolysis of sucrose, we can also call it as invert sugar. Sucrose is generally dextrorotatory. Its specific rotation is plus 66.5 degrees. When we hydrolyze sucrose in the presence of hot dilute acid, it breaks down into it forms D-glucose and D-fructose. This D-glucose is dextrorotatory, but D-fructose have a large negative rotation, and because its specific rotation of D-fructose is higher, the entire mixture of D-glucose and D-fructose is levorotatory, and because of this the hydrolysis of sugar is also known as inversion of sugar. So basically the equimolecular mixture of glucose and fructose is also called invert sugar or invertose. The reason why the equimolecular structure of glucose and fructose is called invert sugar or invertose because due to the negative rotation of D-fructose in the mixture of the two, the entire resulting mixture becomes levorotatory while the sucrose is in itself dextrorotatory.